Welcome to this explainer. Think back to just a short time ago, like right before generative AI became a household term. The way we approached research, writing, and problem solving was completely different. And then, well, practically overnight, the whole landscape flipped entirely upside down. We are currently witnessing a massive, unprecedented rise in artificial intelligence across education, and it's fundamentally changing how we learn and process information. But listen, we aren't just here today to talk about the technology itself, or to marvel at what large language models can do. We're going to uncover the exact, actionable strategy you need to navigate this shift and actually gain a critical edge. If you want to understand how to turn this technological wave from a simple, everyday convenience into your absolute academic and professional advantage, you are in the exact right place.
All right, let's jump right into Section 1, the AI adoption surge.
So, to really grasp this new normal, we have to look at the sheer scale of what's happening. By the year 2026, an absolutely staggering 92% of your peers are projected to be utilizing AI tools in their studies. I mean, let the gravity of that number just sink in for a second. We aren't just talking about early adopters, tech enthusiasts, or, the people sitting in the front row of computer science classes anymore. We're talking about near universal adoption in a remarkably short time frame. Imagine sitting in a lecture hall of 100 people. 92 of those individuals have a powerful AI assistant open on their laptops right alongside you. It is a fundamental, structural shift in the academic baseline. You're no longer competing in a world where AI is some kind of secret weapon. You are competing in a world where it's just basic equipment.
And beyond just trying these tools out once or twice for a novelty project, over half of the student population, 57% to be exact, now integrates these AI technologies into their coursework on at least a weekly basis. It's become a deeply ingrained habit. Think about the things you do every single week for school. Checking your syllabus, logging into the student portal, sending emails to professors. Querying an AI has joined that exact same list of automatic routine behaviors. It's literally the new reflex for over half the student body the second they face a challenging assignment.
Okay, so here's the reality check. AI isn't a passing trend, and it's definitely not a pandemic-era novelty. It has become a permanent fixture in higher education. And here's why this is absolutely crucial for your strategy right now. Just having access to it, it no longer gives you an advantage. Think about it kind of like the internet or a university library. Decades ago, simply having access to a specific academic database gave you a massive leg up on someone who had to rely on a local public library. But today, everyone has the ultimate research assistant right in their pocket. When everyone has the exact same powerful tool, simply possessing the tool doesn't make you special anymore. The playing field hasn't just been leveled. The entire baseline of what is considered average academic output has been permanently raised.
Which brings us to Section 2, the new performance divide.
Now, this completely shatters a really common yet very dangerous myth. There's this psychological trap where we mistakenly feel like absolute wizards just by typing a prompt into a chat interface and watching a beautifully formatted essay or a block of code appear seconds later. It feels like we are inherently ahead of the curve. But simply using AI does not guarantee better grades or a superior understanding of the material. Because almost everyone is a user now. The gap isn't between those who use AI and those who don't. That old divide is completely, 100% gone.
Instead, we have a growing, much more significant divide. The true performance metric separating average students from top achievers comes down entirely to how you interact with the technology. On one side, we have passive consumption. What does that actually look like in the real world? It's copy-pasting an essay prompt, submitting the very first draft the AI spits out, and calling it a day. It's asking for a summary of a reading and just accepting it as gospel truth, without actually checking the text. But on the other side, we have active problem solving. This is the student who uses AI to debate a counterargument, or asks the AI to act as a harsh critic to find logical fallacies in their own rough draft. It's using the tool to stretch your brain rather than bypass your brain entirely. This distinction, this is the new battleground for academic excellence.
So the crucial takeaway here is that relying on AI merely to feed you simple answers is a massive trap. I mean, it feels incredibly efficient in the moment, like this brilliant shortcut, but it's actually a dead end. Think of it kind of like using a calculator when you're first learning to do addition in elementary school. Sure, the calculator gets the job done instantly, but you aren't actually learning the underlying math. If you're just passively consuming what the AI generates without applying your own critical thought, you will ultimately fall hopelessly behind. Why? Because the economics of automation are brutal. If an AI can easily generate the answer in 3 seconds, the real-world value of you simply repeating that answer drops to zero. Employers and professors, for that matter, won't reward you for doing something a machine can do instantly. They're going to evaluate you on your critical thinking around the AI's output.
So, how do we fix this? Let's get into Section 3, Mastering Critical AI Engagement.
To secure a significant competitive edge, you have to master what we call critical engagement. It is the active transition, a deliberate, conscious shift in your daily habits from passively absorbing AI-generated answers to thoughtfully utilizing these technologies as dynamic tools for advanced problem solving. Now, it's important to acknowledge up front that this shift requires mental friction. It takes way more cognitive energy to be critical than it does to passively accept a clean, confident-sounding AI response. It requires recognizing that AI is a sparring partner and a collaborator, not an infallible answer key.
Let's break down exactly how you put this into practice step by step. First, transition from simple answers to thoughtful queries. This means you need to elevate your prompt engineering. Don't just ask, what is the history of the Industrial Revolution? Instead, frame complex scenarios. Try something like, I'm writing a paper comparing the economic impacts of the Industrial Revolution to the modern AI boom. Provide 3 distinct arguments, highlighting where this historical analogy breaks down. See the difference? You are directing the inquiry, not just asking for facts. Second, use AI for active problem solving. This is where you red team your own work. Feed your thesis into the system and ask it to play devil's advocate. Find the weak spots in your logic before you ever submit the assignment. And finally, doing this secures your competitive edge in an automated landscape. When you eventually sit down for a job interview or a thesis defense, the hiring manager or professor doesn't just want the final answer. They want to know the how and the why behind your solution. The passive consumer will freeze. The active problem solver will thrive.
Ultimately, mastering this critical engagement is your proven key to moving into the very top tier of academic achievers in our digital age. And the incredibly empowering realization here is that this is entirely within your control. Becoming a top-tier achiever today isn't about having a secret connection or some innate, unteachable genius. Actually, scratch that. It's simpler than that. It is a behavioral choice. It's the defining characteristic of the modern successful student who decides to build the right habits today. You aren't just surviving the wave of artificial intelligence, you're strategically riding it right to the top.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one defining question to think about. Will you let AI do your thinking, or will you use it to sharpen your edge? You have the tools, you understand the rapidly changing landscape, and most importantly, you now know how to avoid the invisible trap of passive consumption. Tomorrow's leaders won't be the ones who let algorithms think for them. They'll be the ones who use algorithms to think bigger, deeper, and faster than ever before. The choice of how you interact with these systems is entirely yours. Decide right now how you are going to use these tools tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.